Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, something happened in the country, but it passed our attention because it was shrouded in the thicket and drama of our politics. Yesterday is the day when William Ruto hired some goons and women, paid them, and they attended Israel, and that is why he was telling us he gave us that order of that they shoot the foot order. And immediately after that, Rigathi Gachagua also called for a press conference and a quick rejoinder. People like Murkomen were also, scavenging here and there to try and answer Rigathi Gachagua. So in that political thicket, it bypassed our attention. Now, the former president of this country, the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi's grandson, Collins Kibet Moi, was sentenced to a jail term. And many people did not discuss that. I just went to the ex-handle of Opondo, Kaluma Opondo, was saying President Moi's grandson Kibet has been jailed. Sad. I didn't see many people. Maybe I'm the one who didn't really check. But ladies and gentlemen, this is how things were.
My client right now, Your Honor, in his own capacity as Collins Kibet Moi, let's detach ourselves from the more pinning matter at the end, where we know what he's from his beneficiary as for the estate and what he is from his lineage, Your Honor. Him as himself, as Collins Kibet, he's a poor man, Your Honor, and his position in 2022 was exactly still the same, Your Honor. And at that time, if I may be very clear, he was just being evicted from his house, which was in all news avenues that he was evicted from his house because of non-payment of compliance of paying for his rent, Your Honor. So my client here, he's suffering from depression.
The best inheritance that the defendant can give his children is education. From the time the court delivered itself in the judgment in 2022, up to now, the defendant has never shown any effort and or commitment to ensure that his children are properly taken care of.
I allow the judgment debtor's request to summon the members of the Kabarak trustees to shed light on the compliance of the court's directive to facilitate the enrollment of the minor to Kabarak group of schools.
I'm sick. I've tried. I've suffered since my father died. I don't live anywhere. Yes. I have asked for mercy. No one has mercy these days on an orphan. I've asked the president of this country to help me. No one can help me.
I have had many discussions and arguments about this sentence. Others were asking, really, couldn't William Ruto intervene? Because we've known Ruto to intervene when his friends are facing such troubles. Other minds feel that this is a rich family. The grandson of Moi, if we were to be very realistic, hajamaliza, if we were to look at it literally, hajamaliza kukula ile ya grandfather. Maybe aende kwa ya babake, because I think his dad is also not there. And many people feel that maybe he's pretending. Apparently the case is about child upkeep, because his wife, either they separated or they divorced, and so took him to court to take responsibilities of the child upkeep. And many people feel that hapana, huyu anajifanya tu ndio aonekane hana kakitu. Like in the case of the former Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu, who went to jail because many people are saying that hapana, huyu akona pesa ni penatake julikane. And I don't want to get into that very argument. Now, what caught my attention, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that with all the power that Moi had for 24 years, Moi was the president of this country. And for whatever reason, whether Collins Kibet is pretending, whatever case, I don't want to know why, but I just want to discuss the fact that Moi was the president of this country for 24 years. He wielded power. Yet today, that power is gone, and his grandson can be sentenced to some jail term. And the reason why I want us to discuss this is because I have seen leaders who govern with a clique of his friends, otherwise known as deep state, and they do so in a manner thinking that they will stay in power forever. And I want to tell you why this is a worrying trend to people like William Ruto, people like Koech. You remember Nelson Koech was giving the shoot to kill orders? People like Murkomen, Oscar Sudi, Chirchir. There's a big problem and they are really concerned. And if before you accuse me of taking this too far, the reality of a possibility of facing a jail term had crossed Sudi's mind. And Sudi said, just recently of course, that they want to ensure that they don't lose the next election in 2027, because in the event that they do, they will be jailed permanently. That was Oscar Sudi. Take a look.
Na ndio unaona sisi tuko careful. Nilikuwa naambia huyu mnyano tuko careful sana, tusishindwe kwa sababu hao watu wakitushinda, kwa sababu mtu kama mimi watanifunga permanently. Watanifunga permanently. Kwa ndio unaona tunakaa macho kabisa, ili zote ziko juu na ukarabati yote iko chini. Kwa sababu hao watu wakipita tu namna hii, mimi kwanza na huyu Arabu Kishara huyu mnyana huyu tutafungwa permanently. So lazima tu.
And I want to ask you, if William Ruto loses the next election and you look at the rivalry between him and Rigathi Gachagua, do you think, let's say, that team, Rigathi, Kalonzo, Martha Karua, Matiani, people like Natembeya, win the next election? Do you think they can jail? Do you think not jailing is the prerogative of the judges? Do you think they can take Ruto to court? Because you look at it, William Ruto even now is being accused of atrocities, killing Gen Zs, and Rigathi holds it very dearly that William Ruto is presiding over massacre of youths from Mount Kenya. And Rigathi believes so strongly, is convicted, that Ruto wants to segregate and isolate them. He has said Ruto ni muuaji. He has said Ruto is a rap mashamba. He has said Ruto is corrupt. That means if they get power, there will be enough reasons to take him to court. But do you think they will? Of course, that answer is a yes and no, because we even saw the relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. And you know what happened after Ruto got to power. People like Matiani, who used to be a thorn in his flesh when he was a deputy president, were really made to face the reality that Ruto was now the man. He showed them that he was in power. In fact, the first time after Ruto had been declared the winner, in his first speech, I remember him asking, "Wapi Citizen TV?" Because citizens really used to, and I think Emmanuel Eto used to deliver and capture him as a man who was going to lose because Raila had the deep state. So when you see Oscar Sudi looking at a possibility of being jailed, then you know it can happen. It can happen. But sometimes after losing or winning an election, these people, ni wale, they can always form a post-election agreement and they are protected. But my point is, there are three reasons why William Ruto can be prosecuted. One, already I've told you that Rigathi Gachagua has got cases. In fact, he has even been reported to the ICC. There are land cases, corruption cases, extrajudicial killings. These cases can be revived, and there will be enough reason to charge him in court if at all the coming government, if he doesn't win, if they so wish, they can do that. Number two, there will be no powers to protect him. And let me ask you, do you think if Moi was still alive, do you think if it would have gotten to this level where, or maybe Moi was still the president, of course, he wouldn't be the president to date, but I'm imagining that his grandson was facing all these tribulations when Moi was still the president. Do you think it could happen? It wouldn't have happened, because when you have power, there are things that you even block because you feel you'll be humiliated. But because that power has gone, you can see what is now happening to the grandson. And I said, for whatever reason, whether it's pretending or not, do you think it would have happened? So there will be no that power to protect William Ruto. Number three, the judges are becoming brave. And right now, I'm still wondering whether the relationship between William Ruto and the judges is that of a cordial one. But somehow, judges are becoming brave enough to do the right thing. And so, in the absence of power to protect him and the availability of cases, even if you go to the Controller of Budgets report and the Auditor General, you'll find enough evidence to prosecute. You know, people are always considered innocent until proven guilty, but there are enough evidence to prosecute William Samoei Ruto. So it caught my attention, and I thought this is a very good lesson to the Ruto administration, so that as they govern, let them stop recklessness. Like we saw Koech saying that wewe piga risasi uwe. And in his statement, Koech was saying, hata sisi tunaweza panga. In other words, these are people who believe that they are waging an unnecessary war that is not there between the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus. And it's something that they have sat down and drawn, because Ruto was asking yesterday, kwani Uhuru na Kibaki, kwa nini hawako msumbua? And then Koech says, hata sisi tunaweza jilinda. You know, they say that when you want to dig a hole for your enemy, or for your enemy to get into, you are always advised under the laws of social justice that you dig it in a level where, should your enemy fail to get in and you fall into that hole instead, you will not die. Do unto others as you wish them to do unto you. So this is just a lesson to the Ruto administration. We've seen it over and over again in one's politics, where someone who thought he was so powerful later is even jailed by his successor. And this is a lesson, and I believe people like Murkomen are watching closely, and they should learn that things do change. And like I said, power is transient, it's never permanent. Let them know that one day justice will catch up with them. Number two, let them deal with the opposition with justice, with decorum, because if you persecute this opposition brutally, so much in a manner that you want to humiliate them, then things might change. And they would want to deal with you the way you are dealing with them when you are in power. Let them not give Gachagua an impression that they want to reduce him to nothing. They want to show him that he's a non-entity. Because should anything happen, I know from where you are, you're now saying, oh, haiwezekani, Gachagua hawezi. Sometimes things happen and you sit back and you start wondering, is this God ama ni shatani? Imekuwaje we are in this situation where we are in? You believe so much that William Ruto cannot be defeated. But what if it happens because you're not the person, determining the future and the fate of all of us? Let them know how to handle their opponents, because the measure that they use on others will be used on them. Because I can feel the wind of change. And when the wind of change catches up with people who are on the opposite side, I can assure you, all the money that is looted, all the crimes and the deaths that happened will always be unveiled, and they will be dealt with in a court of law. I don't know what to think, but there must be some pain and thoughts. There is a sense in which it disturbs them that, what if we lose? Because no one could imagine that, for whatever reason that you can give, a grandson of Moi can go to jail. This tells you that jail is a reality, and someday justice can be delayed, but it will catch up with us. And let them know that power is indeed transient. It never stays in one place forever. It never stays with one person forever. So the sentencing of Moi's grandson is a lesson. Even if it will be long after you've gone to rest with your Lord, your children will remain in trouble. And let all leaders, including governors, you've seen Obado in and out of court. The reason why President Watito is in jail today is because of money that was, do I say allegedly, or has been proven that they stole, they looted. You cannot escape justice all the time. So anyone who is in the position of leadership, let them ensure that they are spotless, because there is a generation that is coming. I've always said this generation of millennials, people like Babu Owino, people like Edwin Sifuna, Ndindi Nyoro, that group, they might not joke around with culprits when they get to power. And sooner, they will be our leaders. They will be seeking for higher, leadership apart from what they have now. And I believe that they will ensure that they set a precedent that no one will ever steal, no one will loot, no one will kill. And this is the time for our leaders to learn a lesson that no matter how big you are, how brutal you are, how powerful you are, how influential you are, how rich you are, someday all this will be a backlash. It will backfire if you're not careful. So tengeneza mapito sahi, ndio siku ikifika you can retire gracefully and age gracefully. I see somebody like Jakaya Kikwete, hana shida mingi. Ukiona pale Uganda vile Museveni ameweka mtoto wake, I don't know, is the head of military, and when you commit a lot of atrocities, you become guilty, you can't walk freely. I mean, I don't know what to think, but that is my take.